beginning, God created what was not found. He put light in darkness unknown and found glory in the midst of chaos. But chaos found itself again, tangled in the work of God's creation, man. Since that time, we have struggled to regain our rightful place. We have struggled to find righteousness once again. We struggled to find what God originated, what He wanted, what He intended. And as believers, we are to be an example of going back to what God originally intended for us to be. Go to Genesis 1, 1 through 5. Genesis 1, 1 through 5. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness He called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Basically, in the beginning, God brought order. That's the first thing that He established. That's why it says that the earth was without form, that there was darkness on the face of the deep, because there was no order. And basically, order is evil, because we know that darkness is symbolic for evil in the word. So God is a God of order, so He had to place everything in order. And without that order, there would have continued to be darkness and chaos. Our image, according to our likeness, let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Underline image. Basically asking yourself, what's the image of God that we're created in? What's that image? What does it mean when we say we're created in the image of God? Does it mean that when we get to God, He's going to have arms, legs, and a head and feet like us? Does it mean He's literally going to look like us? What does it really mean? And basically, to be created in God's image, it means we have His characteristics, His mannerisms, His morals, and His abilities. That's what He created when He created man and woman. He created them to have His characteristics, His mannerisms, His morals, and His ability. Now, we are not God, but we're living symbols of His rulership and His authority on earth. Basically, the same way somebody would show they own something, they will put their stamp on it, or they will put something, their icon on it, and it shows, okay, I own this, I have ownership, I rule this, this is what I have created, this is what I've taken dominion over. And basically, by us being here on earth, we're supposed to be an image of, this is what I rule, this is what I created, and this is what I'm taking care of, and I'm God. That's what we mean. It means when it said we're created in His image and His likeness. That's what we're supposed to be. How it was from the beginning. Go to Genesis 3 and 8. A lot of this stuff y'all probably know, but we're going somewhere with it. Of course, that image was tainted after the fall. And they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. Underline sound. Because you notice they didn't say they heard His feet stomping or anything like that, but it was the sound of the Lord that was walking in the garden of the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. Underline presence as well. So basically, we're on a hunt for the intimacy to be restored back from the way it was from the beginning. We're on a hunt to get that image back, the way that we're supposed to look. So how do we do that? And this is simple, by seeking the face of God. But a lot of us, we don't really understand it when we say, oh, I seek your face, I seek your face. What does that really mean? Why do we seek His face? What's the purpose of it? What is it going to bring about? Go to Psalms 27 and 8. This is an example of how we have to be when it comes to seeking God's face. Obedient, that's the first thing. That's the first thing you got to do in seeking God's face. It requires extreme obedience. and an enthusiasm and an excitement about it. Psalms 27:8. Before you can reap the benefits of seeking God's face, you got to actually want to do it wholeheartedly. And this is what David said to God. When you said, seek my face, my heart said to you, your face, Lord, I will seek. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Do not leave me nor forsake me, O God of my salvation. When my mother and father forsake me, then the Lord will take care of me. Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me in a smooth path because of my enemies. Do not deliver me to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and such as breath out violence. I would have lost heart unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And basically, him saying, God, this is what you told me to do. I'm not just going to do it, but I'm doing it with everything I got. My heart leaped when you said, seek me. So when God says, seek me, I want you to seek my face. It's got to be an excitement with it. You can't just do it religiously. We can't just say, oh, we seek your face, oh God. You can't just say that out your mouth, but it has to be something in your heart that has to say, oh God, your face, I'll seek it, I'll find it, I'll find out what it is. I'll find out what your will is. I want to know you. You got to have a fervor, a passion, and a desire there for God in order for God to meet you where you're at and intercede on your behalf. The face of God. The face of God is the unique part that contains his unique identifying characteristics. The face of God is the unique part of him that contains his unique and identifying characteristics. It is also the presence and the glory of God. The face of God is the presence and the glory of God. So when we say, I seek your face, it means I seek your presence and I seek your glory. So when Adam and Eve, when they had sinned, they hid themselves from his glory. They hid themselves from his presence. They hid themselves from his face. Just like when you do somebody wrong, the last thing you want to see is their face, right?
That's true. That's true.
So when you be like, well, God, I just don't understand why, it just seems like I'm not seeking you or whatever. Why you got to examine? Am I hiding myself from your presence because I sinned? Because oftentimes when you in the wrong, you don't want to see God. There's no desire to see God. You're running from God, or you hear him telling you, seek me, pull on me. I want you at a new level. I want you at a new place. And you avoid it or you're disobedient. Why? Because you're in sin. And you don't want to see his face. Because seeing his face brings about shame. Because you did him wrong, right? That could be one reason why you're not seeking his face if you're not. The benefits of seeking his face. Preservation of life. Go to Genesis 32 and 30. Genesis 32 and 30. Actually, start at verse 22. 32 and 22. And he arose at night and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. He took them, sent them over the brook, and sent them over what he said. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestling with him until the breaking of the day. Now when he saw that he did not prevail against him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaks. But he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. So he said to him, what is your name? He said, Jacob. And he said, you shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men, and have prevailed. Then Jacob asked, saying, tell me your name, I pray. And he said, why is it that you ask about my name? And he blessed him there. So Jacob called the name of that place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And basically, in order to get the preservation of life and seeing God face to face, which means that I've encountered your presence. Because that's what his face means, right? I've encountered your presence. I've encountered your glory. But if you notice what it was that he did in order to get to God's presence, he didn't just roll up on him.